Hey, I'm Corey and I run a 5-figure AI automation business. And welcome to our new 5-part series that we're going to do to help you really identify what is going wrong and where you're stuck essentially. So we're going to go through these 5 phases. Today will be phase 1, chaos fixing. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around and let's jump into it. So as we mentioned before, chaos is a very common within once you start like really identifying the parts of your business and saying, actually, yeah, that is what I do. That is what is happening. And I see it every day when I'm doing these consultations and strategy meetings with clients. They just have chaos that they're not aware of. So what I thought I'd do would kick off a 5-part business series where we are looking at where everyone is stuck. It usually comes in around 5 phases, and I figured phase 1 will start with fixing chaos. But by the end of this whole series, you should be able to identify at what point and what growth level is really holding you back. And it may sound general in a term that everyone's going to have this single point, but when you look at it, I mean, systems are pretty much the same, right? Whether you're traveling down this road like this, and as I mentioned before, there's sort of roadblocks, trees on the road, I guess you could say. And even though there's hundreds of different businesses, all of them usually have around the same issues with automations. Businesses run pretty similar to each other. It's just certain order of ops that they do stuff in. So someone like a sales team might focus more on lead gen at the front part, and then on the back end, that will be like a second priority. But there's still a back end. There's still the chaos back there. It's just rather than going from like 1, 2, 3 and in a sequence, they're just going 3, 2, 1, but it's still the same numbers. So nearly every business will follow or have the ability to organize within this category. So phase 1, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about chaos fixing. I believe strongly that you should fix the chaos, and a lot of people aren't aware that there's a lot of chaos happening, and it's the thing of you're in the bubble, you can't see outside, but everything may be burning. And the last thing you want to do is implement automations into this sort of environment. So the first one, what does this actually look like? I keep saying that you probably have chaos and you're like, where? Just show me. So no clear processes, and you'll be very surprised with the amount of people that don't have stuff like SOPs, just standard operating procedures. And this falls back with if someone takes a holiday or one of your staff member leaves, who's filling the role, how they're doing that position. And then we take it one step further, we put an automation in place, and then they take holiday. The automation is going to keep churning. We can't exactly just stop that process. So you need to identify some clear processes. The tasks need to live in Slack or people's heads or in the chats. So obviously a founder, very commonly a founder will say, excuse me, they will say, oh yeah, just do this is how you do it. We go X, Y, Z. That's the process. But they've sent over a message. They haven't actually formalized it and put it into a documentation like an SOP. And all of this stuff is pretty much in their head, and they're just verbally communicating to the people. And then what happens is the second someone new comes in, they then go to do the same thing again and again. So that's why it's sort of labeled as chaos. And everyone does it differently. If you have one position or one single task, let's say this is a task, I don't know what it is, it's a square, but say a task, maybe person 1 does like A, B, C, right? Maybe person 2 does, hold on, and then this is equal task, backtrack a second. Maybe person does C, A, B. It still equals task. It still equals the outcome, but there's no clear, indication. And then maybe person 3 comes along and they want to get to the task and complete it. And what they do is they have person 1 saying, okay, you do A first. Person 2 will then say, no, you do C first. That's wrong. So now all of a sudden, person 3 at this stage is like, A or C, what do we do? And regardless of the result, it still causes conflict and friction within the company. So we want to make sure that it's streamlined and everyone is doing A, B, C. Also, in implementing something like this, you may find that there may be like a 5% difference between here. So 5% less efficient, 5% customer service, valuation sort of thing. So you're losing customers from that little 5%. And this can cause the leads falling through the crack. You also have random tools and zero structure. It's very, very common with people that are new to the automation space. They sort of just introduce these tools. It could be something so simple like, let's just use write my emails, for example. So they'll bring on a tool and possibly it writes the emails. Then how does it fit in the whole ecosystem? It doesn't. It's there just to serve that single task, just write me my email. But then what if we found a tool that was better, that could write the emails, plus put it in a draft, plus ping a Slack message to you and say, are you ready to send this off? Rather than you having to go into your drafts and click send. Or plus it adds them to the database, or the messages to the database, or maybe it crafts the email. So you can sort of see, rather than just implementing random tools, you sort of want a structured approach with this. And finally, you can't automate what you can't define, which is incredibly true. You're walking in the dark, and then what, you just want to automate it rather than get it light and work out where you're going. So we need to define everything, and then we can automate it far easier. So what we need first, you need clarity, then automation. As we spoke about, you need that flashlight. There needs to be a single way to do everything. SOPs, standardized operations. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be just one straight line, everyone following the right thing. Because if we have everyone following the right thing, then we could put a person here, and then this is the outcome. And we can just take snippets then. We can eliminate this from the person. And if we go back to this person here, and we go ABC, if I eliminate this middle part, this eliminates the middle person, the middle part of their flow, I guess, to each task. But this has eliminated the end part of the person's here, right? So really, what it would look like if we change this to P1, P2, we're actually eliminating parts like this. So it's very different parts. And then how can you structure it? It's like, if we go on a timing, for example, this whole section may take 4 hours. So we're cutting out the middle 1 hour maybe, and this we're cutting out the last 1 hour. So how do you even track staffing, if that makes sense? We need processes over tools, and we need trackable, teachable systems. This needs to be taught in line so we can eliminate everyone. So we know when we are delegating, we can delegate this. This will take 2 days, 2 hours. And then we know that this stage is going to occur after 2 days, 2 hours. So then we can prep this, right? Where if we had 2 people doing it, we'd have to double up and say, okay, I need to be ready for this point here, and I need to be ready for this point here. So then what happens is I'll need to be ready. I need to get some sort of follow-on task ready in day 2 and in day 3, which is not ideal. You want to just do it all in one hit. So 30% of time is wasted due to unclear workflows. This is huge, because if you just implementing a human fix, not even an AI, just implementing, fixing, we're not even talking about automation at the moment, that's 30% increase in your team time, in efficiency, in everything, just by clearing workflows. Now we add automation to that as well. That's going up 2, 3, 4 times. So unclear workflows is one of the biggest forms of chaos. If you go into any business, you should be able to say, how do you do this? And then they say, yeah, we do. Everyone does this, then this, and that's it. There shouldn't be any doubts around it. So what does this look like? You've seen all my scribbles. We're going through all this. You've seen my beautiful drawings with my mouse and paint style pen. On here, we have the bad, right? We should put it as a big X. This is the big no-no. We have tasks via chats. Without procedures and without, how we're operating, what happens is staff will come and say, okay, what do I do next? And then the founder, the owner, will be like, do this. Okay, I've done that. What's next? Do this. And you can see this is a constant. A, it's not clear, and B, it's not efficient, especially for the owner who should be steering the ship and strategizing a lot of the time. So we want to stick away from using the chats. Leads are also in spreadsheets. Now, controversial, yes, it's not bad to start with, but this is more referring to the fact that you want leads to be somewhere. What happens often is leads will go on a spreadsheet, and then this will be one lead, and it won't even be titled properly. The next set of leads will go in another spreadsheet, and then all of a sudden I can't find the first leads. We go, okay, let's just re-pull them again, or let's see if we can find them again. And then we find it, we put it in another spreadsheet. Now we have 3, and it just goes on like that, where the system could look like unifying it all into a CRM. Putting it all into a single source, a single data source, rather than searching it. This leads recruitment, but then if you go back 2 folders into the 3rd folder, down 5 folders, that's where our dental practice leads are. And it's, this can lead to quite chaotic. Now, I see SOPs, we've sort of covered that. I'm not going to talk on about it. It's very important to get these workflows. Everyone guessing it sounds wild, but there is a lot of businesses I could go into, and I sort of go, what's the numbers? What's our, customer acquisition value and all these financial figures? Wouldn't have a clue. It's this guessing and metrics. Oh, Corey, I think we're sitting at around, we get about 2 leads per month. Actually, I think it's about 6. Some month is good, some month is bad. It ranges from 2 to 10. Some months I get 15. This is a guessing, essentially. If there's no sort of fixed, or there's no empirical data, then it's guesswork. It's not a metric, right? You should be able to say, okay, well, we know from historical data, possibly last year in June, there was a downturn in sales, or in the industry there, this often happens. If I'm a lawnmower in winter, I'm going to expect a downturn, right? It's sort of, that's the metric stage. But then in terms of like the guessing can also relate to someone. I gave this filing job to Sandy, and then you're like, well, actually, I don't know if it was Sandy. It might have been Ben. It might have been this person. Could just go ask them, and don't know. And it also goes into who's in charge of what position as well. If we haven't got our SOP set up here, then who's doing what? And rather than it just being a streamlined ship like this, what happens is it might be like this, and then we go down, and we're like, oh, I think Ben has this document. No, actually, I'm pretty sure Sandy has. Oh crap, where is this document? And we sort of follow this strange path, which is 2 times longer, I might add, than a single straight streamlined. Now, the good thing, we're still green here, big tick. The opposite of this is how we get to the clarity, right? So we've gone through the chaos. We want clarity in this framework. We've mapped workflows. We've unified CRM. Leads are flowing into a single source, a single data truth. We have Loom videos. We have SOPs set up so anyone can come in and just bang out the work and just easily get it done. We know what everyone's role is. When I tag something to Ben, Ben and I and the whole team knows exactly what we're doing. If I tag something to Sandy, everyone knows what she's doing. Like, it's all unified. There's ownerships in this. There's stages. When Ben is done, it goes to Sandy. When Sandy is done, it comes to me. And you can see from how we spoke about with this before, how implementing something like this is such a straight line. It really is. So, the client's in his little car. Pretty close to a car. Sort of skateboard. And he's just streamlining down here. Where on here, there might be a delay to talk to the client, or there might be some sort of issue, lost work, or, can't follow up in time because we couldn't find his spreadsheet. Where this, you can just grasp how much cleaner this is, right? Like, this is a streamlined operation. And then imagine once we have this and we start implementing the automations, we already, we can speed this as like a double, 2 times the speed, because there's no curves. When we're going here, we're curving, slow down here. I can't put an automation here because what will happen is it will go like this, and it'll go like this, and it'll be big dips. So tools to use in phase 1. Let's go back to blue. Whimsical is fabulous. What we're drawing on right now is whimsical. And the great thing about whimsical is you have, you can set up certain boards. You can set up mind maps. So we can do this is our admin, and maybe we have filing is a task. Maybe we have data entry, and then phone answering and following up. And when we go to filing, we can sort of put in what is this SOP? Do we require any resources? Okay, well, spelling is bad today. Okay, so who's in charge of this? This may be Ben. We may have something else. This might be Sandy in charge of this. And it's great that we can map everything out here and really clean it up. So whimsical is fabulous. The next is some sort of system dashboard. Notion, Airtable, whatever you work, even Excel document, Google Sheets, everything works fine, but you just need a storage, essentially. You want somewhere to store everything, and sort of a moment of truth. Notion obviously is the most common one used. You also want to do Loom videos. So whenever you do an SOP, they should consist of 1 times document, 1 times video. And this should be per task, right? Now this is a pain, especially if you're already established, to get this sorted. But what this does is, some people are visual learners, some people are reading learners. I'm not sure, I'm not super sciencey, don't know the technical terms of that. But in doing this, someone might read this document and go, oh, I don't really understand that. But then if there's a video walking through the task, and maybe the owner or HR is actually doing the task, they can go, okay, yeah, I pick up on that. So I've always found, whenever at Blacklight we do this handover with clients, we always provide 1 document for the SOP that we've built, the system. We do 1 video for the staff members, so it's a very simplified version. And then we usually do 1 for the developer, for a technical video for anyone coming in. And it works fabulously. Usually the document is held on with the owner, and it goes into a Notion database, and then the video usually is given to staff as a, hey, heads up, this has been implemented, this automation is here, watch this video to understand more. The second one is you need task visibility. This could be ClickUp, this could be Trello, this could be Monday.com, just something where we have our road that's so streamlined, and we know that Ben is doing this task. When he does this task, he changes it. Maybe we go like admin, and now we need to do like a phone calling, for example. But when he triggers this, it then triggers it to be assigned to Sandy. So it's a full task visibility. These automations can be set up in most of these platforms. We use ClickUp at Blacklight for this exact reason. The moment Ben changes something to a task, Sandy will get notified, hey, new task that you got to do, and then they change it, and it moves down the funnel and assigns to different people. Bonus tip: don't touch Make or Zapier yet. You need to identify these systems. You should be able to put in place Notion, your SOPs, your ClickUp, your project management system before even doing any of these automations. Like this one that we just spoke about here can be done in ClickUp itself. We don't need an external platform such as these two. So what happens if you skip this? What if we've gotten this far and you're like, there's so much work, Corey. I really can't do that. Like, I don't have time. This is boring. I don't want to map shit. Come on. Well, automation scales mess. If you don't fix the foundation, you're scaling mess. If you chuck an automation in and it's at a 1x error, it's going to get like a 10x error. And imagine the resources needed for a 1x error. Imagine you send a wrong email to a person. Maybe that single one email you've sent to the person requires one email to be sent back, which maybe takes 10 minutes. Okay, now what if we implement automation and send it 100 people? I mean, that's a very low scale, but that's 100 times an error, right? Now we're going to send 100 emails back saying it's fixed, saying, and if it took 10 minutes, the first one, now we're at 1,000 or 100. But you get the point, right? So you want to make sure that this foundation is fixed, so we're not amplifying it. And yes, I understand the math is wrong. If you do it, you're going to automate broken processes, you're going to build on this chaos, and you're going to get more problems at scale. So AI isn't the magic fix. AI just streamlines and makes our car zoom a hell of a lot faster. All right. So that will pretty much define the chaos section. Once we have everything in here and we've mapped it out, we've got our SOP sorted, we've got our project management sorted, we've pretty much mapped out a whole business. You should at this point have identified bottlenecks, whether it's staff doing repeating tasks, whether it's just useless tasks that aren't needed. Maybe there's a double up. Maybe you actually have no knowledge base and you're just running everything through a Slack channel. You'll definitely find something. Even I've worked with people that are on $20,000, $30,000 a month, and we find a lot of things doing this process. So once we do this, the next phase, which I'm going to split this into a 5-part video series, the next phase we're going to capture the efficiency. So the system's mapped. Now what we need to do is start plugging in tools for time saving. So once we've mapped it all, we know, hey, we've got a streamline now. Now we can actually plug in some tools. So I look forward to seeing everyone in tomorrow's video. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to put them down in the comments. You can send me an email. My email and the company webpage for Blacklight is in the description. Otherwise, thanks for being here. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.